What's going on YouTube? We're on the X-Ram here. Today I'm headed to Ride Now down here in Tucson. It's right down the road from me, to do and witness the Kawasaki Demo Day that they have going on. Oh, you good? I'm going right there. Thanks, brother. This is the Kawasaki Ninja 650. See how this silly little cruise goes. I always feel weird riding a new bike. Alrighty, so power delivery is incredibly smooth. Power delivery is very smooth. It's got, you know, 650, so it has very decent low end power from what it feels like. To get it going doesn't take a ton of the risk to get it moving. The ergonomics on it are very comfortable. The elbows are down. The only thing that I'm not a fan of, aside from this guy in front of me, is, come on bro, is the way you have to bring your feet up. You're basically sitting on a chair, and that's just very strange to me. The gauge cluster in this thing's pretty nice. You can see miles per hour. What's cool is the gear indication. It's such a simple but great thing to have. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're on a group ride, either stagger or go side by side. Don't ride in the middle of the road like this guy. It is very easy in 6th gear to roll past the speed limit. So it has that low end torque enough to get you going in 6th gear. It is stupid comfortable. I mean, I feel like I could probably fall asleep sitting on this thing. Search signals are easy to use. You can rev match if need be. The brakes are very smooth. They do bite pretty decently. This is a bike that would be perfect for those of you that don't necessarily want a 600 race bike for the most part, but want a 600 that has enough power to get you going and still have fun on, because it is definitely a fun bike. There's no doubt about that. You might win. Not my flavor, but it is a very nice, comfortable bike. I will give it that. It's just there's no guts in 1st gear at all. 1st gear is just, let's get your roll on, then hurry up and shift to 2nd. Yeah, you almost have to go short shift from 1st to 2nd because of the way that 1st gear is just so, like, you get to about 3,000 to 4,000 RPMs and it just doesn't go anymore. It just makes noise. I wish I had more statistical facts for you. I do not have the specs of this bike, aside from it being a 650 and what I've seen as far as the ABS that's on it. I'm impressed with the brakes. I'm used to, you know, my Brimbos and everything, and, you know, I don't want to say it's the end-all be-all brakes, but they are fantastic brakes. And these definitely are no slouch. I can see cruising up and down the street, daily rider type bike for sure. Alrighty, that's the Z900 from Kawasaki. Looks like I have ABS. I don't know much of the specs on it, so you'll just have to look that shit up. You have to look that bad boy up. So far, the seat is, when your feet on the ground, are rather wide. The seat's rather wide. Looks like it has hazard lights, which is pretty cool. We'll see when we get riding how the foot position and all that stuff is. Right now, the seat is also a good bit more firm than what the 650 was, so we'll see how this ride goes. Brakes actually, for the 900, actually feel less bitey than the 650, which is surprising. Figured it'd have been more so. The throttle response is pretty instantaneous and I like it. The clutch is really smooth. I don't know Yeah, it doesn't have a quick shifter. I didn't think it would. But so far the seating position on this is a little more forward, a little more aggressive than what the 650 was. The transmission feels pretty smooth. Just that nice little click, click, click. Real nice and smooth. I was worried that the clutch was going to be kind of crap because the last guy that rode it said it wasn't the greatest. But again, that's riding skill, not necessarily the bike. The dash is very basic. Very basic. It has your gears, indications, miles an hour, your fuel, the range on it, and I don't believe you can change any of the settings. The odd thing that I am noticing about this bike though is when you rest your wrists on it to drop your elbows, you actually end up taking slack out of the throttle. So it makes me wonder if that's normal to have that much free play in the throttle before it goes, or it's just how this bike is and it's got to be kind of used to it. But due to the seating position, you're leaning forward, but because of how high the clip-ons are, you lean forward into the handlebars. So it's not necessarily uncomfortable. Whereas on a super bike or on a bike like a Ducati, you're leaned much harsher forward and you have a lot more weight on your wrists. Whereas this one, there's weight on your wrist, but not the same angle as the other one. So it's more comfortable. It's definitely a much more comfortable bike by far. And here we are in 6th gear doing about 50. I wasn't gonna accelerate. There we go. About 50. A little roll on. Nice little giddy up. Nice little giddy up. Definitely feel obviously a power difference between the 650 and the 900. I'll tell you what. In this grand scheme of these motorcycles, the 650 is a perfect beginner bike. And I've never been a huge Kawi fan because the notion has always been that they're very harsh riding motorcycles. The dampening and everything else is terrible. And they always had great power, but the ride itself was just not fun. Well, the two bikes I've ridden so far, that has not been the case. They have actually been very comfortable, very smooth, and the power delivery is incredibly linear. There's no weird peaks to it from what I've seen. I haven't been able to really romp on it. And it simply just works very well. Again, I don't know the price point of this bike. That's something you guys can check out. But like I said, the 650 is perfect for that new rider that doesn't want a 300. This bike is that rider that's been riding the 650 and wants a little bit more. It isn't quite wanting a liter bike. I mean, it's 900 cc's or 899, so it's close to a liter bike, but not quite there. And it's a very nice, well-rounded bike from what it feels like. The brakes, again, feel a little weaker than the 650, even though I believe them to be the same braking system. It just feels like it takes so long to brake. And hear that? You hear the rev? It's because of the angle. You end up actually twisting the throttle a little bit, which is strange. I've never had that issue with a bike. This clutch on this thing needs to be adjusted. It's got way too much travel, and I don't think that's the bike itself, as in like that's how Kawasaki made it. I think it's just it needs to be adjusted, and it'll be good to go. Yeah, Z900. I don't like the indicators because of the dark background and then the dark facade around it. It almost makes the green blend in too much. It almost makes the green blend in way too much. Got a little slip there. That was kind of cool. this is one of those bikes that you can take up the mountain, Mount Lemmon here, and have a blast. Because it has more than enough power. She leans in very well. And she's very flickable. Very, very flickable. If there's one gripe I have about this bike, the throttle is rather obnoxious. Because of the way that you're seated and you're up, if you ride comfortably with your elbows down, you're going to pull the throttle back. You're going to. And because of that, when you, like I said, when you go to slow down, put that palm into it, you actually speed up. It's a little different to get used to. I'm sure if you rode this on a regular basis, you'd figure that out and be fine with it. But for a trial run like we're doing, it's a very noticeable difference that's kind of a problem. So is my opinion of Kawasaki changed? Yeah, it has. These are nice bikes. Nowadays, all of the motorcycle brands are, especially when it comes to the Yamahas, the Kawasaki's, the Hondas, are coming up to par with one another. And some of them are even coming up to par to the Euros that are out there. And they're doing a great job. This bike is an everyday bike. It can be. It can be more than that. It can also rip up a mountain. And that concludes my ride on this Z900. I always want to say FZ, but nah, it's a Honda or Yamaha. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. No, nice bike. I enjoyed it. Again, not bad. What the hell's the kickstand on this fucking thing? I never know. Huh. Well, that's it. You all have a good one.